Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful Wednesday with us on this. What day is today? Today is the. Well, I can't believe I. Today is the 2nd of March. That's exactly what it is. Okay, it's a water day with it's a water sign with a water number today. Anyway, I'm astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. As you see, I'm about to introduce my distinguished guest in a moment. But before I do, let me tell you about the forecast for today. All right, and there it is on the screen for those of you who can see it. I decided to do. Hope. Let me do something right quick. A second, and take the banner off. Okay, good. There we go. All righty. Uh, so anyway, thanks for joining Live with Lloyd, where the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. Please like, share, and subscribe if you genuinely feel you like what is being done. But today is Wednesday, is the 2nd of March, 2022. The sun is in the sign of Pisces. Today is a new moon day, also, which means that that's when the moon and the sun are in the same sign at the same time. A week from today, I'm going to have a very outstanding astrologer, Hood Mystic, that's going to be explaining some of these in the planetary aspects. Today is a 9 universal month, and how I did it was I added 2022, which adds up to a 6, to the third position month, which is March, and 6 plus 3 equals 9. That's how I got it. It's a 1 universal week. It's an 11 universal day. The signs that are likely to do well today would be Leos, Aquarians, and Cancers. And this would also go for those that are born on the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, and the 29th of the month. Alrighty, so okay, let me get this straight. And we're going to be doing readings. I have a very interesting guest, which I always try to have, because he's going to do something that's a little different or a little unique, and I'd like to bring him to the screen with us. His name is Antwon. Hold on. Here we go. Antwon Gordon. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
What's going on? How's everybody?
All righty. Antwon, one of the things you do, well, actually, I was looking at your bio, and you saying even as a youngster, you were always taught about or given direction about leadership. You know what I'm saying? And you've done leadership skills and whatnot. And now you are referred to as a high priest. Now, high priest, how did you become a high priest? And how did you get from leadership into more the metaphysical side of life that you do now with healing and karmic cleansing and stuff like that? What happened?
Well, before I answer your question, let me just start off by saying first that the black woman is God, and that man needs to heal the black woman's womb, and that she can only get man to act right as long as her womb is not compromised. So I want to start off and say that first, because that's the
Okay,
most
good. Because we're
important
gonna get
thing
into
for our
that later
dynamic.
too. Good, good.
Right.
I like that. I'm in
Now,
agreement with you.
to answer your question, to answer your question about how I got to the position was because I was trained and mentored under a Dogon priest. Are you
Hmm.
familiar with the Dogons?
Oh yes, the Dogon
It's a
people, they find the Sirius star.
right. So my mentor, he's a Dogon priest, and he is one of the four last people on earth to have the complete knowledge of the sacred secret knowledge of the Dogon legacy. So
Mm.
I was trained under that information in
Mm-hmm.
order to understand people's reasons for being on earth, their
Mm-hmm.
karmic debts, the whole numeric value system, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, touching on that, as far as what I do, is that I take people back to a past life to correct the karmic debt that they are currently experiencing now. And it's because of something that happened in the past, in their past life, that's causing them to go through the trauma that they're currently going through. So,
Mm-hmm.
based off of that, that is determined based off of the energy in your name. So when I look at your name, it gives me a complete way to analyze what your design is, what your karmic debt is, and what you came here to do, and what contract you needed to fulfill based on the mission that you need to complete at this particular time. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how that all came into play.
That's interesting. I had a guest on Monday, this past Monday, and he was talking about how a lot of the things we do now as adult relates to some trauma or something that happened between 0 and 9 years old, and some other things. Do you? I know you correct karmatic debt. Do you know what brings about these debts? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's something that you did in the past life to cause it. So you could have been, depending on what number you're missing in your name, tells
Mm-hmm.
me what type of behavior you was engaged into to cause it to happen in the first place. So, for an
Mm-hmm.
example, let's just say somebody was a dictator and all they did was, rule with bad intentions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they would use wealth and power to take advantage of people and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
fast forward to their present life, they will come into this world without wealth and power.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
everything that they ever did in that past life, they start paying for it now. Because what happens is that the duality of it is that you have to experience the same experience you gave to others, and you have to receive it as well. So just like you
Makes
give,
sense.
you have to receive it back in return.
Mm-hmm. Question: when you are doing the name to find out the karmatic challenges, so to speak, do you use the Pythagorean system 1 to 9? Do you use the Chaldean system 1 to 8, or do you use another system altogether to do the name?
Well, I never learned the the numeric system that way. I learned it through my mentor, which is a Dogon. I learned the
Okay, well,
Dogon
good,
way.
good, good, good.
So
Listen,
when
one
you
day we
tell
got to
when you
talk so
tell
you
me
can
that,
tell
I'd
me.
be like, I, I'm clueless. Like the what? Not that I don't know of it. I do know of it, but
Hmm.
when I was
Yeah,
trained
but I
in it,
think
it
it's
was like
nice that you
it's
have
different.
another modality of getting to it. Because see, I'm always in a
Right.
state of learning. I'm always like to learn. I didn't know that cards, for example, have a way of revealing your name. So you have been taught a Dogon method, so that's going to be very interesting. So when people are calling in, which they're going to be doing, they give their first and last name, or just their first
Yeah,
name. What do you?
they can give the full name, first, middle, and last, because you got to remember it's a 1 through 9. So I need to know what numbers are missing 1 through 9,
Okay,
and that
get
tells me
this.
the karmatic debt.
For example, when I did an illustration once on Dr. Martin Luther King, and I used the Pythagorean system. Dr. Martin Luther
Wait, but
King,
that's not his name. That's not his name though.
his original name was Michael Luther King,
Yes. So
and
it's
then at
the
age
name
6,
has to be original. So people don't call in with your AKAs and your
other names, right?
alias and stuff. It has to be the birth name on the birth certificate.
Right. Well, good. See, because here's the thing: he was born Michael Luther King. However, at age 6, he turned to Martin Luther King. But as Martin, though, he had every number other than the 6. The 6 was missing in his number. Would that be considered, from your perspective, one of the karmic numbers? Does that make sense?
Well, Luther, how you spell Luther?
Luther.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that definitely would be considered a karmatic debt, because I thought there was an F in Luther. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. That's okay. No, no.
Okay.
Don't worry.
No,
Don't
you're right.
worry.
But you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would
Now,
be considered a karmatic debt in dealing with relationships, family, harmony, keeping things in a harmonic environment, um, dealing with politics and stuff like that. Just bringing out different sides to that aspect. Yes, but
yeah.
it
Well,
depends. It also
mhm.
depends on what's in the position of the 6. So what's the letter in his 6th position? Because it'll tell me specifically the karmatic debt he's actually paying, because it's got to be specific. This can't be broad. Like, we know he's missing a 6, but we need to
Right.
know specifically what type of 6 is he missing, 1 through 9. So that's how that.
Brother, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a lot of fun
Yeah,
for me because this way I learn
yeah, that
something too. Okay.
right.
Um. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look for people. You can please, if you can give your names and whatnot. How long you been doing this? And
So
how'd you, go ahead.
so well, I'm from New York, so obviously you are from Queens, right? So
I'm from Harlem. You
we
from Brooklyn, I think, right?
I was born in Brooklyn but raised in Queens, Kings
Okay.
County to be exact. But
Okay.
just New York period always had that conscious vibe. We were always ahead of the game and things of that nature. We've always had that uh that major conscious influence in New York. If it wasn't the God bodies, the seven percenters, Nation Islam, or
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
the Nawapians and things of that nature, or anything, or the
Hmm.
Moors, or whatever you
Yeah. Yeah.
it was, or the Hebrew Israelites as well.
Hmm.
That I grew up Christian, so when I was a kid, I asked my mother. I said, "Ma, you know, how come God is so powerful? Won't he just kill the devil and put an end to all his madness so we can live a beautiful life?" And my mother's response to me was, "We don't question God." And at that moment, I think I was about maybe 5 or 6 years old, and at that moment, I knew something was wrong. And it
Hmm.
was it was
Hmm.
crazy to me to be able to discern that something was wrong with that. Why would he
Especially
do
at that age.
something right at that age? So I was already connected spiritually to understand that something is wrong for even me to ask a question like that.
Yeah,
So
I would say so. Yeah.
fast
When I was
forward
a 5 year old.
to right, so fast forward, I branched out and started just going on my own journey as far as trying to find myself, is what people say when you just dibbling and dabbling in all these different
Yeah.
schools of thought and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But
Hmm.
they say you try to find yourself, but they say it as a disrespect. But in all actuality, I was looking for myself
Hmm.
at that particular time, because just a lot of things that make sense, and I had a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Hmm.
But it was a time I was going to a church, and then I would bring certain information to the church and challenge the church on certain information, and then, they couldn't answer. So I just knew I was on to something, that I needed to keep going and stuff.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
came across, let me see, I came across the Nawapians. I was there at the same time. Brother Polite, me and him was initiated at the same time into the lodge, the Grand Lodge
Hmm.
down in Macon, Georgia.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we're both Masonic brothers, if you want to
Hmm.
call it that.
Hmm.
Um, so me and him got initiated, and he went on and did his big stuff, and then I left that and went on to find more things, and then
Hmm.
just filling in all the gaps and everything that I could find and stuff like that, and then one day it just wasn't enough. I still felt like something was missing,
Hmm.
and I'm up. I probably was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, doing my usual scrolling through Facebook, researching, looking for stuff. And I think it was either Brother Red Pill, Brother Blue Pill. They posted something on Facebook in the thread, and
Hmm.
they had this video of a gentleman, and it said, Master Dogon, Dogon Master, breaking down the 9 things for optimum health. So I clicked on the video, I watched it and stuff like that. It was pretty good, but he was talking about water, and he was saying how alkaline water is not good for people, and he said people should drink structured water and stuff like that. So
Now, what is
I was
structured
kind of
water?
like, right, that's what. See how you said that? What's
Yeah.
structured water, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what he was talking about. That's what blew my mind, because here I am, I'm drinking alkaline water, think I'm doing the right thing.
Me
Here
too.
he is, right? So he is talking about structured water, because he said alkaline water, nothing can survive in alkaline water. So if nothing can survive in alkaline water, that also means the nutrients can't survive neither. So it was like, boom, okay, that makes sense. So when he
Hmm.
started talking about clustered water, he was talking about a water that had multiple different minerals in it,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
the molecules are so small it can fit in every cell in your body and hydrate every cell in your body. So that right there is what blew my mind. But in the interview that he was having, that the person interviewed, that he left his number, and he asked, "Can anybody call him at any given time?" And he didn't mind what time they called. So it was like 2, 3 o'clock at the time when I called him. So being from New York, we like to call people's bluff, right?
Oh yeah,
Let me
yeah. I
see
know
if he's
how we
gonna
roll.
answer the phone. Right, we're gonna see
Yeah.
if he's gonna answer the phone at 2, 3 o'clock. So I called him. And sure enough, he answered the phone like he was wide awake. And hey, how can I help you? Dr. Bay here. How can I help you? And then I was like, hey, how you doing? I saw your video. Blah, blah, blah. You was talking about the structured water. Can you tell me more? So he told me more. But then he asked me, he said, hey, what is your name? And I said, my name is Antwon. He said, how you spell that? I said, Antwon. And he was like, wow. He says, you have the most powerfulest energy on the universe. You can't work for anybody. When he said that, I was
wrap,
blown
right?
away. It was a wrap. My soul jumped out of my body and looked at me and said, this is it right here. And I immediately joined his organization, and he taught me for 2.5 years. I was mentored underneath him for 2.5 years. I traveled with him all over the country. I lived in Chicago where he headquartered at. And we did multiple seminars for 2.5 years. I trained. This was back in 2014 and stuff like that. So I trained under him for so long that after a while, the information became me. And then I started to get downloads to where I started to develop new things that he didn't teach me. So then that's when I knew I elevated and stuff like that. So
normally
so based on that, right. But even then, he taught me that information and stuff. It was good information to use, but I wasn't using it to do anything in particular as far as healing people. The way I got into healing was through my wife that I'm with.
Onika.
So Onika, my wife. So she's a shaman priest healer. And I'll tell you real quick is how we met. We met at one of my mentors' events, and we connected. And I was going through some challenges at the time. I wasn't doing well spiritually and stuff, and I knew something was wrong. And we had exchanged numbers and connected. And she told me to look on her Instagram, and I didn't care to look on nobody's Instagram. And I didn't even know she was a healer for real. I just knew that she was a sound healer. And I'm saying to myself, I don't need no sound healing. I need somebody to come in here to do some work because I'm a gorilla and I ain't into no sounds being played, as you can see behind me, right?
Yeah, those gongs.
Right, you see where I'm at now, right? But here I am talking junk because being from New York, we got to be cocky with it and just be like, yeah, we don't need all that, man.
No question.
I'm too macho, Randy Savage out here, woo, I'm too much of that. So I'm in my mind. I'm like, yeah, okay. She like, look at my Instagram, and I didn't look at her Instagram for a few days, and I wasn't trying to hook up with nobody at the time because what I was going through. So I looked at her Instagram. Finally, she kept asking me to, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh snap, she got all the healing I need. And she's doing plant medicine. She doing gongs. She resetting people's souls. She doing all types of
awesome Instagram site. She really does.
Man, you see it, right?
Yeah, she's no joke.
So I hit her up. I'm like, hey, I need your help. I'm in trouble. Help me.
I know you did.
I'm in trouble. I'm like, so I'm in trouble. Please help me. They on top of me. The demons is all over.
And that's rare for us men too. That's very rare for us men. Okay.
Right.
So the fact that you extended yourself like that was very powerful as far as I'm concerned, because I know how we men are. Like, we don't need nobody's help, okay?
Yeah, we don't need nobody's help. So, but I knew something was wrong, and I knew that I needed healing, right? And it was that what we call that big mama love that I needed, that that she provided, basically. So, I came to her, we talked. She took care of me, basically. Long story short, she took care of me and, got me back to health, cleaned the garbage off for me, and, got me out the garbage, shined me off like the diamond, in a rough type of thing, shined me up, put me on the pedestal, and and then she launched me into doing healing.
You know
Basically.
what? I think one day up the road we're gonna have to have Onika on so she can share with the sisters what the process is to salvaging some of these brothers out here with a lot of garbage issues.
Wait, but see, the thing is, this is the trick though. See, the difference between myself and other brothers and women, because there are women out there that do try to heal brothers, right? They
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the brothers are not willing to be vulnerable. That's the
Yeah, I
problem.
know. Yeah.
When the brothers are not willing to be vulnerable to their issues and their problems, and they keep it, tucked in and stuff like that, they can never get saved from the situation, and they become toxic in the relationship of whoever they're dealing with at the time. But there's a
But that
reason for all that.
but that's why I said I was struck when you called her and said you need help. Normally we men don't do that with a sister.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
normally, for you to do that, that means that says a lot about you, that she would bring that out in you, that you would reach out to her. Because, we men got to, the way the whole projection is, we men got to be strong. We got to be alpha. We got to make all the decisions and this, that, and the other. But we have vulnerabilities too, just like they do.
But that's why I said in the beginning, the black woman is God.
I understand
And the
now.
reason why man is in the shape that he's in, because he has to go back to the womb to get healed from it, but that womb must not be compromised. That was the difference between how she was able to heal me in that process. Her womb was not compromised with toxicity, violence, trauma, and everything else. So it's a difference. That
So you
woman's
saying
womb
her
has
womb
to be
wasn't,
good.
when her womb wasn't compromised, what does that mean for a woman that may be just hearing that? And what do you mean by that definition? Her womb wasn't compromised.
That means she's
That
been doing
makes
her womb healing. She's been doing her womb healing work. You got to
okay.
do womb healing work. Because
Mm-hmm.
the reason men respond to women the way that they respond to them, if it's disrespectful or just not showing up or being who they're supposed to be, is because
Mm-hmm.
the womb is a major communication system.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever how your womb is, women manifest from the womb. They don't manifest from the mind. They manifest from the womb because they're so powerful they could give birth to life. So guess
Mm-hmm.
what? They give birth to ideas,
Mm-hmm.
relationships,
Mm-hmm.
careers, moves, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if her womb is not cleansed, or if it's toxic, or if it has a lot of trauma in it, she's going to pick up the man with that same issue. So she has
Interesting.
to do the work. If she wants a good man to be in her life, and she wants him to provide and do all those things that is necessary that a man's supposed to do, her womb has to communicate that. And that means she has to clean up her womb.
That's
Because I'm
interesting.
going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. Before I met my wife, it was all about hoes. Give me the hoes.
Brother, we're out of New York. I understand. I definitely understand
Okay,
what
so you already know what I'm talking about, right? So
the question.
it took a clean womb to
To
make me
clean you
understand
up.
that to clean me up, to make me understand that hoes is not what you want. Because it's hoes that got you in the position that you're in. That's why you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it banged me in the head like that. Boom. Fireworks. So
Well,
if you look at
go ahead.
if you
So
I'm
if you
sorry,
look at
yeah, if you look at certain communities, like if we go to Chicago or Philadelphia or even New York or Baltimore, where there's trauma and poverty and everything else, it tells you exactly how the womb is doing in that community.
interesting.
If you go to a nice neighborhood where things are nice and beautiful, it tells you how the womb is doing in that community. The womb speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. And because it speaks so much volume, it shows in the community. That's how you know that men cannot rise no higher than how the woman's womb is doing. So when you see brothers going to jail or black on black crime or poverty or things of that nature, it's because the wombs have been violated so much that she has to work on cleaning it up to get out of that environment so she can be in an environment where a man will perceive her to who she's supposed to be and respect her for who she is.
Brother, that's one of the
So
most profoundest things I heard, especially coming out of the mouth of a man. That's very interesting. But and everything you say is spot on too.
thank you.
Everything you say is spot on.
Yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do. So I now understand your initial introduction to the respect of the Black woman and her womb, definitely. Because without the womb, we don't come through anyway. All right. So that's the tip up right there.
Right. But let me just say this too. Woman designed man, right? She designed them to be she designed him to protect, provide, educate, and for comfort as well.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line, that line got severed. So I just had a baby, right?
Yes.
So we changed the game. So we knew now that we understand what's really going on, and we're a lot more aware that a lot of the trauma has began because of how we changed our customs and tradition. Obviously, it was destroyed and snatched away from us, and we just don't remember. But I had a baby where we had a home birth. I delivered my own son, right? But we decided that we were not going to cut the umbilical cord from him, because the first mother of any child is the placenta. And the placenta is the one that's been watching out over that child for 9 months, providing nutrition, protection, and everything it
else.
needs
Yeah.
to develop.
Yeah.
Right? So we wanted to respect the placenta by allowing it to complete its job and then fall off when necessary. Well, naturally. Today, us as a culture of people, we don't do that tradition no more. So now the whole magic behind it now is that give the father the scissors so he can cut the child from his protection. Or that's what's been protecting him. That's the first form of violence right there. That's the first form of neglect. That's the first form of abandonment as well, is when they cut that from you. So this is the issues that we're currently dealing with today, as far as our people goes and everything else, dealing with the womb and how birth should be actually handled in our culture. That's why it's important for us to get to a certain level where we're doing this stuff on our own.
Well, it's interesting, Antwon, because I was told by sisters that in some cases when they give birth, the umbilical cord is cut, and then oftentimes they'll take the baby right away from the mother, as against putting the baby on the mother's breast. So there's a further bonding and everything like that. So I think that's very, very interesting to have that understanding. And you're right, because the umbilical cord is the life cord to the child getting everything it needs.
Right. But that's the thing. If we've been trained and conditioned to be scared of our own bodies. That's the problem. And as long as you've been trained and conditioned to be scared of your own body, you will not dare have a home birth unassisted on your own because of what you've been conditioned to believe. So you automatically are already bringing that child in the world with fear, period. So these are the things that it's a lot of work, but you and I both know what we got to do.
Amen on that one. Listen, let's go and see so we can help some of these people with their names karmically. Okay. So you're saying that they need the whole thing. Let me see something here.
Yeah, just put your whole name out, because it'll tell me what's missing and what's not missing. Then I could tell you what's going on.
So, okay. Well, Shauna B, she asked, what is your zodiac sign?
Can you see me? Is it my? Can you see it? I wear it on my chest. So I'm here to bring balance to the world, as well as advancing in partnership and things of that nature. So yes, I am a Libra, and
And this year favors Librans too. Librans and Tauruses go to the head of the class, no question.
And yes, we are from the planet of Venus. I know you see the attire. We definitely love to dress and smell good and be beautiful, right? All that good stuff.
I mean, is there any other way to be? You know what I'm saying, Antwon?
Right.
I mean, that's how we're gonna do this.
Right.
Okay, let me see. Now, this gentleman his name is should be at the bottom of your screen. His name is Stephen Williams, and his greetings family from Chicago. Now, he didn't give
He
a
ain't got
birthday.
no. He should put the middle name. Why you got to put the middle name too? Because you don't put. If you don't have one, then you just don't have one. I got you. But if you don't put the middle
Yeah.
name, it's
Oh,
I
here's
could
what.
read it wrong.
Here's
Yeah.
what. I have no middle name. Lloyd Strayhorn. What do you get from that?
So Lloyd Strayhorn. So spell the last name for me.
Strayhorn. Strayhorn.
I believe you're complete.
Okay.
Because you got the 1, that's the S. The 2, you got the T.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The
Mm-hmm.
3 is obviously the L's, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lloyd. The 4 is the D.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 5 is the N, right? N.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You got the 6.
Mm-hmm.
You got the 7. That's the Y. And then
Yep.
you got the 8. The 8 is the H, right? You got H in your name.
Yes,
Was
it
that
is.
H?
And you are
And then
absolutely
you got
right.
the R. You got the 9. So you
I have
complete.
all the
There's no
numbers in
argument
my
with
name,
you.
1 to 9. Okay, good.
Now this is a thing though too. I can, depending on, based on your date of birth. What is your date of birth?
February 16th.
All right, so 2/16, right?
Yes.
So there's 3 phases to your birthday. So you have the first 36 years of your life. It'll let me know what your strengths was and what your weakness was. So
Mm-hmm.
your strengths was in 9. So you was a humanitarian. You love to help people, and you always come up with solutions to people's problems except your own. But that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
that was your strength. So you can manifest anything you want. You didn't second guess anything. You went with your first mind, and that's how things manifest for you the way that it was.
I would say that would be about right.
So you had a 2/16. So it's a 2 minus 16. It'll tell me what the first 36 years of your challenge was, and the first your challenge was the 5.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
had challenges with. But see, looking at your name, if I go back to the 5th position in your name, it tells me what specific type of challenges that you had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it tells me that there was an issue with your self-image. You had a challenge with, really, really trusting in your image as far as your creativity goes and things of that nature. You always had a challenge with people. The thing was is that people took advantage of your good heart. They took advantage of your good heart, and because of that, it came as a form of disrespect, and you couldn't understand why you're being so disrespected, because you're providing all these great solutions and ideas for people and things of that nature, and they didn't respect it and stuff like that at the level that you want, so that you could be recognized for it. But it was also you also second guessed your ideas, your creativity, and if it was going to work or not, and things of that nature. But this is in your early years, so we're not talking
But
about
that's
now.
interesting how
Obviously
you're
now,
able to do that in your head. So good. We're gonna.
yeah.
So let's assume with Stephen Williams that he has no. Well, let me see. Let me see if we can find somebody with.
Well, I see family already. If I'm looking at his name, I will see that there's some challenges in family. And if I looked at where the family is, it says that in his family, if he doesn't have, I don't know, but in family, it says that it's hard for him to stick to one woman. Basically, it's like, man, like, I could change my mind 1 minute and go with the next. I could bore easily, learn fast, and it's just in that retrospect. But he does bring a lot of creative ideas to family structure and things of that nature. This man is the type of man you put him in the kitchen, and he'll make something from scratch. He don't need no directions. He just made things happen in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Good.
the challenge would be if because we don't see the middle name, but if there was a challenge there or a karmic debt there, that means that he's been in multiple relationships that have not panned out or worked the way that he wants.
Good. Now, for those that are participating with us, if you do have a middle name, please include it. Now, this woman, Elizabeth Mordaunt, says, would you look at her name?
I'm looking at it. I just want to make sure because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing because I don't see a middle name. But if you don't have a middle name, that's fine.
I was going to
We'll
say
go
right
off.
now, let's assume that everybody doesn't have a middle name, although as a rule they do. So
Okay.
we'll move forward. I'm sure some people will do, but in her case, what do you see, assuming that she just has the middle name?
So she has a karmic debt in 7. So this is a person that will do things without thinking, just jumping out the window without putting in the research necessary to figure out what's actually going on and stuff like that. This person does a lot of things that they regret doing and stuff, and it's hard for them. It's hard for them to not criticize themselves. It's like they're the most worst critic, but they'll start criticizing everybody else. But they become the most contradictors in the game because they do things to talk about everybody else, but don't do what they say they're gonna do, and then we looking at you like, well, why didn't you do it and stuff like that. So they have a lot of they chase after and want to be a part of a lot of spirituality stuff because there's missing that connection to spirit that they feel because they don't have the 7 and stuff like that. So if I looked at specifically, we see 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's in her 5th. She has a 5 in her 7th position. Yes. So she has a 5 in her 7th position. So that means she's definitely listening to a lot of different schools of thought and stuff, and not really being stable in that school of thought of where she's going to find her consciousness at. Makes sense?
Good. I have another one. This her name is Londa Brooks, but I guess it's Yolanda, or they maybe call her Londa for short. Yolanda Brooks. She says, please review her name and let her know, which I think is a good question, that if she's got the debt, how can she resolve the debt? How can she cure the debt?
So that's what I do. So my job is to find out what your debt is. So the way I break it down is that first thing is I do your name first. So we spend about 3 hours together going over the different integral parts of the name that represents. We want to know 1 through 9 aspects of who you are. We want to know your pathway. We want to know your reason for being. We want to know what challenges that you had and weaknesses that you're dealing with, or your strengths. And then we want to know the karmic debt, because the karmic debt is responsible for the trauma that you've gone through in this life. We are not victims. We've been conditioned to believe that we're victims, but there are no victims in this life because you caused the challenge that you're currently going through now. A lot of people don't see it that way, but it is that way. It's just that we've been conditioned to believe that we're victims, and we're not victims. We have the answer. So to what is ever going on. So if I looked at your name, so what I do is, I'm sorry to finish up. So what I do is I read it out first, do a self-analysis of your name, and then we'll do what we call a karmic clearing. And that karmic clearing is we pinpoint specifically what a karmic that is in your name, and we go back to that past life to clear it up, and we replace it with something better. So for an example, I had a client that she was she had a sweatshop. She had a sweatshop. So she treated her employees terrible. She had about 72 employees, and she had them working in bad conditions and stuff like that. And somebody actually died in the sweatshop. So because somebody died in the sweatshop, she is dealing with that issue in her present life right now because of what happened in the past. So we went back, and what we did was I had apologized to the people for how she treated them and stuff like that. and
Mm-hmm.
give the girl a proper burial and pay the people for what they was worth and stuff like that. And then that resolved the debt, and all the people were happy, and they were happy with her for what she has done to resolve the debt. And then we come back to present time, she no longer is dealing with those issues anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I resolve the karmic debt for you. But to look at your
Um,
name, you have a lot of uh well it's so it's telling me that we're trying to unify your family because you have a debt in unity. So in your in dealing with unity, that's dealing with what it says is that you're trying to get your family in order. You're trying to get them on a high spiritual level and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, you can't get the family in order the way that they want, or they won't unite. So obviously, this says that something in the past life with family, dealing with your bloodline, is the reason why your family won't cooperate for you in this life.
okay. This one is from Marco Polo. He says, "Why can't we remember our past life?" Have you ever been
Good
asked that
question.
question? I think it's a good question too.
Because because they cut the placenta. Your placenta helps you to remember when it's finished its job. So if it doesn't get the full it doesn't if it doesn't decompose the way it's supposed to decompose when it's finished um uh doing its job, then you don't get the rest of that memory that you were supposed to have. So this is the reason.
Makes
It's
sense.
the
Makes
placenta.
sense.
This is why they cut the placenta. They don't have to cut the placenta. It's still attached. So you think
And it's
about
going
it,
to
they
fall
cut it,
off
but then
organically anyway. And it's going to fall
it's
off
gonna
naturally
fall
anyway.
off. Right. So but you don't get to remember because you didn't finish the full charge. It's like a phone charger. If you don't finish charging up, how can you pull the plug from the phone so it can work? So you
Yeah,
didn't
and
get the
even
full charge.
yeah,
A
that's
lot of
interesting.
people's batteries are not fully charged. Let me just say like that.
I would say, brother, that's a very succinct and very logical way of putting it. A lot of us need to charge our batteries. Well, here's somebody who said, Media Megan, she said she loved her session with you.
Yeah,
She
that's
said
that's
she loved
that's
her
that's what
session with
I'm.
you.
Yeah, that's so she's very powerful. She just got married. Congratulations to her. And we did some real good work before she got married. She was able to clear off a lot of things that took place in her past life and stuff like that, which was amazing. And now, because of that, she's able to be more fulfilled in her marriage and stuff like that. So she's definitely been she's and I like her because she's like she when she goes in like she don't play no games. She goes in like she said, I want to get healed. And that's the type of people I like. They go in because it's hard, right? The thing is that
Mhm.
it's really hard for people to face their fears because it's a very fearful moment for people when
Sure,
going back. Because I just
sure.
don't go back to your past life. I also go back to your childhood, what happened with you and your mother, what happened in the womb, what happened to you in your own personal womb, what's going on in that. So
Hmm.
these are the things that we touch on and stuff, even in the sessions. And we probably I think we had about maybe 5 to 6 sessions. So, but I touch on all those things. But she's very
Hmm.
powerful, and
Hmm.
congratulations to your marriage. And I can't wait to
Uh,
see you come back so we can finish our last session.
this one is from a Barbara Mann. She says her name is Barbara Elaine Mann. So she's giving you her first, middle, and last name, Antoine. So what do you have to say for this one?
Oh, he can't see all that. But she put a what? Okay, let me see. Oh, Barbara Elaine, man, that's so she got the 1, 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, but she ain't got no 6. She don't have a 7, and she does not have an 8. So she's got 3 karmatic debts. So that means that there's a lot of work that got to be done on her behalf. 6 meaning family, dealing with family, and there's some challenges there with the family. And I'm looking at when it comes to family for her, is dealing with the fact of her family not respecting how they're misusing her basically. They're misusing they're misusing how she comes up with solutions to their problems, or they're just not listening to her or not taking her advice and just going about doing her own thing because she's a type of person where most people come to her for help, but they're just taking advantage of the help and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But that's a
Listen.
piece, but she's missing three of them.
Okay. Well, now listen. Now, if this is not a long name, I don't know. Kata Harangata. So now you wanted the whole name, so she's giving it to you. So what do you got to say
Yeah,
about this?
well, that's interesting because this name is so long that it's still missing a karmic debt. And it's the four. So four is talking about structure and order, but in the fourth position, it's talking about so when you're missing a four, it's also dealing with mental health. So some people might find you a little bit like not stable in your thoughts, but you pick up things that you can't even tell other people, but you could get to an environment where things could be unstable and you're trying, and it's hard for you to let go of certain things too mentally. It's talking about mentally. So if you don't got a four, it's dealing with the mental, and it's talking about you not able to let things go. You still hold on things from the past, and holding on things from the past is what's actually hindering you from moving forward and things of that nature. So your karmic debt is in the four energy, is dealing with being structured and organized mentally, as well as things that you continue to hold on to.
I would say that's very, very good, Antwon, because I don't see a D or a V, M or a V. I see no fours at all. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. And this is a long name, and you did that in your head without a pencil or paper. So I know you're
Yeah.
serious.
I,
Okay.
I was trained by the best, right?
Well,
You
it
know what's
shows that
interesting though? You look just like my mentor.
really.
I meant to tell you that. You look exactly like him, and it makes me think that you're a Dogon because you deal with the numbers, and if you know that the Dogons were trained by the Nomos, and the Nomos came and gave them the information, and they are the ones that started ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
and they traveled around the world three times, and they named every continent. So every continent that starts with an A and ends with an A is where the Dogons were at. So Antarctica, Asia, Africa, the
Yeah,
Americas, and
yeah, yeah,
Australia.
yeah, yeah,
Every single one of those continents, you'll find a pyramid, and that lets you know that they were there.
yeah.
So
That's
it's
very,
a lot.
very interesting. Okay, let's see who else we got here. All right, this one is a little easier. Her name is Sheila Leona Wilson.
Yeah, she's missing a four too, right? So and her four is dealing with is
Yeah, I don't see
and
any
this is
D's or M's or V's. You're right. You're absolutely
right,
right.
right, and yeah, so yeah, and then she was also dealing with the seven too. She don't have a seven either. But
Mm-hmm.
this person right here, this is a person that they struggle a lot because of the fact of it's hard for them to trust.
Mm-hmm.
The trust game is like her the way she worries is on a whole nother level of worry. So she's constantly worrying about the unforeseen things, and she probably has a lot of anxiety too. But because of a lot of regret and things like that, and not knowing what's about to take place and stuff like that is also a challenge. But this is a person that not having that seven also says you're not thinking things through. You're just making decisions without the research in place. And also being that there's a four, also it's also talking about you're not letting people earn your respect, or you're not letting people earn the right to be in your presence, or you're not letting people earn because we're talking about four, and four is talking about putting in work. So
Yeah, yeah.
they're not earning your good heartedness. And because of her, well, not because of her, but because of that and having that karmic debt there, now is where it's hard for her to trust people because it's hard to put her trust in people because she's been burnt so many times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have an interesting question with this one from Stephanie Butler. She says, "What if you were adopted and had a name change?" Which I think is a great question.
Right. Whatever's on the birth certificate is law. So that's how it works. If when I said so, just like these the oppressors came and took everything like they did, they put
Mm-hmm.
everything in writing. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you
Mm-hmm.
put it in writing, that's considered the truth. So if your
Mm-hmm.
name was put on a document and it was submitted and sealed, that is your contract, basically. And what people don't understand, your name is tied to a contract that you agreed upon before you came back to this planet. So when you jumped into this avatar body, right, you are a spirit, and that spirit said, "Hey, I'm gonna jump in there and get the work done." But because they cut your umbilical cord, you can't remember what the job was or the mission.
Mm-hmm. So you would say or recommend moving forward that all future moms or mothers to be soon should hold on to, in other words, when they're in the hospital, to not let them cut that umbilical cord right then and there, but to let
Look,
there be a process. Because it
listen,
makes
I'm gonna
sense
be
to me,
honest with
because
you.
that's where everything comes from, the umbilical cord.
Listen, this will start helping people to truly understand that having birth is not a game. It's not a game. Right? You really need to educate yourself on how your body works when it comes to everything, because this whole thing made up. This thing is filled with information that you can tap into and just pull out ancient knowledge out of nowhere once you go back and look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
once you go back and see with your own two eyes, you already know that nobody can lie to you no more. But because
Mm-hmm.
people are not aware of this technology and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that I do, and anybody can do it too, not just me. But the stuff that I do is that I take you back to remember what you used to be before they cut the umbilical cord. That's my job.
Mm-hmm. 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 All right. This young lady here is Yolanda Yvette Brooks. She says, please review and let her know.
Please review and let you know. Uh, what? Oh, the name. I got you. I was
Yeah.
confused. I'm like, huh? Okay. Well, okay. Well, there it goes. Because we were talking about her earlier. We were talking about. I thought she didn't have a two on her name, so she does. So we can't use that no more. But let's see. She's missing wealth and power. So
That would
something
be
with
8.
knowledge. Yes, that would be an 8. So she's missing
Mm-hmm.
wealth and power, and where does it fall at? 6, 7, 8. Oh, it deals in it's in the creative position. So it says that you're too interested in a lot of things, but you start things, but you don't finish the most powerful ideas that you have. So that means that the ideas that you have will take you to wealth and power, but because you got too many irons in the fire, you smothered the fire and burnt out the ambition. So you never got a chance to see the wealth that you could have potentially had because you are too interested in other ventures in business or finance or any other stuff like that. So that's kind of like where you that's it's kind of crazy because it's like it's sticking it to you like, you want to go here, but I'm gonna make you interested over here about
Mm-hmm.
something more
Mm-hmm.
powerful. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy, yeah, but that's
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened.
Okay, we got this person. She says her name is Vicky Michelle, spelled totally different. Michelle Wright. And her total birthday adds to a 16/7. I would imagine that's the month, the day, and the year she's born. But in this case, she's giving you her first, middle, and last name.
Yeah, so there's the family. There's an issue with the family. She's had relationship challenges, and she's had it in the sixth position, which where the four is at. The four is dealing with structure. So there's a thing in there trying. She probably grew up with a shaky structure with family, or it being too strict or too stubborn or too mean or being in mean relationships where there could have been
Mm-hmm.
some abuse and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting those things in order is just like there was a major challenge with trying to be in harmony, and she's fighting all the time to get harmony, and And she just all she's ever said is, "I just want peace. I just want peace." And this is where she's doing all the fighting in these relationships or family or friendships or partnerships and things of that nature, where she's not getting the harmony she wants, but she's been fighting with it. But like I said, this is going back to a past life. You probably was mean to your own family, and in turn, in this life, they have shown up to be mean to you. So that's how it
Hmm.
works.
Okay. 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 That's Elizabeth. Okay. This one is Kelly Charlene Barber.
Barber.
Yep.
So this same thing, six, the family. Just
Yeah, she
this
doesn't have
time,
an F or O or
this
an X.
time in family is right. So in this position, it's talking about leadership. So this talking about she never got protected. There's no protection. She didn't get protected growing up, or that father figure, or somebody just stepping up in that position to be who they needed to be for her own protection and stuff. So this person was definitely not protected, and that's because again, it's talking about you in the past life not protecting your own, and now in this life, your own is not protecting you and stuff like that. And it doesn't necessarily mean just family. It could be friends, it could be partnerships and things of that nature. It could be in a lot of different ways, but it's talking about just not having that harmony. And it also talks about you just not having a stable environment too. So, and then it's also talking about competitiveness. Like you always had to compete for a man or compete to be in a relationship, or you had to be seen, or you had to, just always you just had to outdo everybody or compete for some reason. And it's a constant fight, and that's not what you wanted to do.
Listen, I know you live in Atlanta. People can reach you across the country, across the world, right? In fact, let me hold on. I got one more
They
name.
can
This
reach
is
me.
okay. This is interesting. This name right here. Did it show up? Yep, there it is, right there. Jaleesa Yuquana Alston.
Well, yeah, she don't have no wealth and power, that money. So and it
In other words,
falls
the A is missing.
into
That's what you're saying. The H is missing, or the Z
yeah.
is
So
missing.
this right. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. She has a Q. I'm sorry. I take that back. Let me not put that on you. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Right. So um she's missing a 4. Yeah, we're missing a 4. So that's
Yeah, I don't
and,
see any
and this
fours.
person right here, I'm gonna be honest with you. You cannot keep a job. You got to go work for yourself. It's just not gonna happen for you. I'm gonna be honest. You're just too creative. Like when you step into the work game, it's just too much. Is the job situation is not gonna work for you. It's just you got to go out there and be your own free spirit at this point. Like, I mean, depending on what age you at and stuff, but you need to go be
Yeah,
your
she's
own
born
free
in
spirit because
1991, so she's 31. Yeah, she'll be 31 on
yeah,
July the 20th.
yeah, she cannot work for nobody. It's just not gonna happen. She's got too many creative ideas, too much innovation, too much change, too much ideas. There's too much, because she's got it in her fourth, and she's got it at home. So she's got too much creativity going on. So the best thing for you, love, is that you need to whatever creativity you come up with, just give it to somebody else to finish it. Because it's hard for you to finish the things you start.
I know she's got a
That's
lot of ones. Would that explain to it? She's got a lot of ones in her name. She's got those
yeah,
A's and
she
S's
can't
and
work
stuff.
for nobody. She can't work for
Three,
nobody. But she's a
four,
people person though. That's good. She's definitely gonna
six.
make
Yeah,
it. She has a lot of friends, but she just can't
yeah.
work for nobody. And then it's also see the thing with that too is it's a commitment thing going on too, because she's made so many different friends and relationships and stuff like that. It's hard for her to spread herself so thin, but she keep making all these rounds, and she's in and out the scene real quick. She's a mover and a shaker, so it's hard to keep a job for her to stay in one position. So that's where the structure comes in that she needs to pass on to delegate to somebody else to do for her.
Listen, believe it or not, Antoine, we're already at the 1 hour mark. Can you stay just a little longer? Because
Man, I can
and
stay as long as you want me to stay. I'm having fun.
me too, me too. If you take a look, everybody, this is how you can reach Antwon Gordon. So, Antoine, give them the specifics how they can reach you, buddy.
Uh, so you could call the business line. We'll just leave a message if nobody picks up. My wife will pick up. She handles all my logistics and stuff. You could go to the Macabre House on Instagram or the website, the Macabre House. I do bookings on there as well. My bookings are 1250, so I don't do these type of just sit down and read for these. I do a full-fledged body exam
No,
of your whole
you go
design and
hard. You
makeup.
go hard. So,
Yes, I go hard. I don't from New York, we don't do it no other way. Like we gotta go crazy
no,
because
that's
it's
how we
just
got to do it, brother. We were
this
intense.
thing's excite numbers excite us. You know what I'm saying? Like people like us, it excites the hell out of us. It's like, ooh, I couldn't
Yeah,
believe they designed you like that. They
yeah,
designed you
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's so we might spend 3 hours together and then we get into the whatever karmic desert there. We go into a karmic clearing, and that requires at least 6 to 8 sessions with me. So we'll be spending at least 2 to 3 months together, basically,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
for those sessions and stuff like that. So
mm-hmm.
that's why the price reflects it. The work, if you ask me, it's undervalued, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm here to help. So yeah, the IG Macabre House, Cash App, $ Macabre House. Feel free, whatever you want to donate. We all love it. We just had a baby,
I was
so
gonna say
if
you
you
just
do,
had a young man, okay? So you got to
you
show
know,
love, okay?
yeah,
To
and,
the
and
young
he has
man.
no karmic debts. So just to let y'all know. And then
And
I
let me
got a
tell you,
daughter. Go ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, no, go right
No, I was
ahead.
gonna
You got
say
a daughter.
I also got a daughter. She has no karmic debts and she has no challenges. So she's all the way clear in a lot of different ways. So this is the type of information that if you haven't had children already, this is the type of information you want to be able to project to bring in these beings
Without the
with no
conflict of trauma.
without the right. So you want to bring them in, understanding this information will let them know. And especially you talk to me, I'll let you know how it works. That when you name them, you'll name them with everything that they need, so that there's no conflict. But depending on what type of how you want the child to operate in those positions, because each position in the name has a job to do, and you
Yep.
might want your child to be a leader. So I say, hey, well, name your child with the number one. Name them
Yeah, a lot of ones
with
in
an
it.
A,
Mm-hmm.
a S, or a
A J.
J, or whatever the case
Yeah,
may be.
yeah,
So these are
yeah.
the type of things that you would understand of how to design the
Mm-hmm.
avatar for your spirit baby to come and jump into this avatar so it can behave according to the name. If that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Brother, it makes all the sense in the world to me. So this is my guest, Antwon Gordon, high priest, life coach, spiritual healer, and a great father. Because I think you got 6 children, right?
I got seven.
Same thing. Same thing. Same thing, brother.
I
Same
got
thing.
seven. Don't forget, I can't forget. It's seven of them. They interesting in their own unique way. But my
Yeah,
oldest is 26, so I've been doing it for a long time.
for a minute. Yep. And this is his 314-649-8088. That's 314-649-8088. And this site is called themacaberhouse.com. Now, which is the best way for people to call to either inquire or schedule appointments? Which is the best one to do it? The phone, IG,
I,
site?
they whatever's comfortable for them. I mean, the website is to book a session, but if you want to ask questions, you can you can call the number direct and either leave a message. We'll get back to you, or you can go on the Macabre House on the IG and leave something in the DM, and we'll respond to that too. So either way, we're available. We're not like you can't reach us because we're too big, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, good, good. Let's see. So let's go here to let me just go all the way here. Uh, this person, she says her wife's Stephen. His says his wife's maiden name is Carol Annette Moore.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that wealth and power, they go. That wealth and power is definitely
No
a play in
eights.
there. So yeah, but see, so let me just talk about that real quick. So obviously, somebody might have a karmatic debt in something, but they might have a partial debt. So you might have an
Mhm.
eight somewhere in your name, in your
Yes,
logic
exactly,
or your
exactly.
emotional side. It might
Mm-hmm.
come to an eight, or your reason for being might be an eight or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that would tell me that there's a partial debt. So if there's a partial debt, that means that they are able to make money, but they can't hold on to money. So I don't know if she has a partial or not, or is it a full debt or whatever the case may be. But
Well,
looking at her name, good.
mhm. No, no. I want you to
What you?
finish your name, and then there was a point I wanted
Oh
to
yeah.
make that Dr. Martin Luther King. Go ahead.
So looking at her name, it tells me again. She man, this is an aggressive person though. See, this person right here is aggressive. If they get into a position of power, it's like lights out because she is like this person is like she will be like on you like crazy because when she it's a very aggressive, so she's very aggressive for wealth and power or aggressive for knowing and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and sometimes it'll work against her because of how aggressive she is, and then people will pick up the vibe that she's just out for people's position, so she'll walk into a room and make everybody uncomfortable and stuff like that, and they'll
Hmm.
start to be like, oh, she's a know-it-all. We got to hurry up and block her from getting to this position because if she gets this position, we're all in trouble. So that's the challenge with her energy as far as her having that karmatic debt. She's got a lot of people that don't want her to rise, and it's a reason for it because in her past life, she was a hell on wheels, and in this life, they just like, damn, if she go back and tap back into that, it'd be a problem because
It'd be
this
a wrap,
people
right?
with this, yeah, these people with this type of energy too, and I'm not saying that she'll do that, but people with this issue will also have a tendency to kill too. They'll kill to be in position. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying she'll literally kill somebody, but that too, but
Symbolically.
also on both ends. Right.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay.
You was
This
gonna ask a
person.
question. What you was gonna say? You was gonna say something. You said you was gonna say something. I don't know if you lost your
Oh
thought
yes.
because you know threes,
You would no. When you
threes
said
lose their.
partial karma, because Martin Luther King did have all the numbers except the number six. Now he was born on the 15th. 1 + 5 is 6. Is that makes it therefore partial karma as against full karma? Does that make sense?
Well, I never looked at it like that or trained in that way. I always looked at the whole. So if it's the whole of the whole
The
equation
name.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if it's the date of birth or whatever the case may be, I let it the whole. But what relationships is he had those challenges in relationships of what came later. But as far as that challenge, he could have had a partial, yes. But as you can
Mm-hmm.
see, he wasn't always home to be
Well, that's
a
exactly what
father.
I explained.
Yeah,
Yeah. When
yeah.
a number is
So yeah,
missing in the box number six, they will say, well, he had a beautiful wife, Yolanda. I mean, his wife,
Coretta Scott,
Loretta, Loretta King, and
Coretta
then
King, yeah,
he had beautiful children, a beautiful home. But the point is, he was never there. He
right,
was never there. And don't
right.
think Coretta didn't say, honey, when you coming home, or the kids need to see you, or I need to see you, or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting
Right.
how you're looking at it, I'm looking at it, and how it's really reaches the same thing. What about this gentleman here? Do you do juniors? His name is Marcus Alton Roberts Jr. You do juniors?
Now the junior don't matter. It's just that's just saying that you junior to the senior, right? So
Right, right. Okay, got you, got
it
you.
really that it don't matter. But yeah, same thing. He's got that wealth and power going on. right? So when we look at it, is dealing with so this is so the thing with him is that his thing was dealing with knowledge, right? This man had to like really work hard in school,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always been some type of issue with him trying to get that knowledge or that position because he knows that if he acquires a certain type of knowledge in his life, he'll have that pinnacle of understanding that now he's in the position of power, and that power will give him what he's looking for as far as wealth and power. But for some reason, he never like acquired the real knowledge that he really want to exemplify what he was trying to see based on what he had in his mind and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But based off of that alone, this, and it is another thing too. His energy, but pertaining to that, when it comes out, his anger or his anger comes out, he can really talk down to people from a position of power. Like, you're not on my level. You need to get on my level. Once you get on my level, then we can figure out what you're gonna do with your life. But you ain't on my level. So that's where his karmic debt starts to shine and stuff as far as that side of him. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that he's been able to humble himself, maybe because
Mm-hmm.
we talk about people with intelligence, and people with intelligence sometimes they might stir off or where they might not recognize that they might be making other people feel less intelligent
Mm-hmm.
around them and stuff like that. But what that really means is he's a big fish playing in a small pond. So if you feel like you got to talk down or be around people that are not on your level, then that means you need to get up out of there and get to your level. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's his challenge. His karmic debt is not letting him get to the level, so he's stuck with the little people, talking, making them because he's all angry with himself that the little people get all the backlash.
When he needs to go to a larger pond, that's what you're saying.
Right, but that's the karmic debt. He can't get to the larger pond because he has self-defeating knowledge that's working against
Mm-hmm.
him. That's the karmic debt for him because he has a 3 in his 8th position, and that 3 is dealing with the knowledge of education or intelligence. So he's self-sabotaging himself with getting to the level he's supposed to be, or the playing ground he's supposed to be on. But because
Mm-hmm.
he's giving himself this he's telling himself that people ain't this or people ain't that, or he has this paranoia concept to it. It works against him, so it's hard for him to elevate to that position where he would like to be. But that's just a cosmetic clearing that we can't fix. That we can fix.
Yeah. Well, this one is from Adrian. She says Adrian Marie Borden, and she's given a complete birthday, the month, the day, the year, the time, and location. But you're going to do the name. She's obviously an Aquarius 6 person, which means she's an air sign with an Earth number. So, looking at her name, what do you glean from that, Antwon?
So she's missing a 7, an 8. She's missing a 6. She's missing 3. She's missing 3. She has 3 karmatic debts. So and
Mm-hmm.
they all kind of like they simultaneously work together
Mm-hmm.
because you
Mm-hmm.
got the 8, the 7, and the 6. So she can't. It's hard for her to get the relationship she wants to be in, to acquire the knowledge that she wants, and then she's not thinking things through. So it's like she's a good. Her power comes from her being, a good leader. Oh, I'm sorry, not that's a guy, right? Adrian, or it's Adrian. That's a woman, right? I
Yes.
want to make sure I'm saying the right
Yeah,
thing.
Adrian
Yeah.
Marie.
So right. So yes. So her she's in a fight with 3 karmatic debts that that first she thinks that she's too dominant to deal with people with men in a relationship. So it's gonna be hard for her to really deal in a relationship because she's so dominant herself. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also a challenge for her because she's gonna challenge a man's position because she's
Mm-hmm.
so dominant already. And then her
Mm-hmm.
having a karmatic debt in relationships, that makes it even more of a challenge because of how she's going to challenge it. But she's also going to challenge it based off of saying things that she shouldn't say, which is, well, I'm looking at it too. She also has a karmatic in 3, so she got 4 karmatic debts. So
Mm-hmm.
she's got a lot
Mm-hmm.
of she got a lot of things going on And so she's gonna say things that she don't mean to say, and she's gonna be challenging people in relationships or whoever the mate that she's with at that particular time. And then that's where her challenges are gonna be at. Or maybe she's also have experienced itself growing up in her own family life as well. So it's a lot going on there, but she should give me a call because we can fix that.
Okay, good, good. They all need to give you a call, really.
Yeah,
We got,
most people do have them, but except for you though, you don't have no karmatic debt. That's a good thing.
well, well, anyway, listen, what about this one? Mickey, Nicole, Chelsea, Grayson. Now, the Grayson, I think that gives me the impression that Chelsea is her maiden name and Grayson is her married name. Do you have a situation like that too, or would you just take the first three,
No,
Mickey,
because
Nicole, Chelsea?
yeah, she's just an individual, so it's like whatever adds on is nice.
Yeah,
you
it does
can't.
like a little add-on, right?
No, but I mean the add-on is good though, because what happens is that she realized that the most powerful law in the universe is unity, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she united with somebody that gave her what she needed that she didn't have, which is
Mm-hmm.
smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she figured that out. Obviously, some people do figure out how to connect. That's why relationships is important because you will find that somebody will help you adapt. But to look at a name, uh, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, she's complete. She don't have no challenges. So if I'm looking at it right, so you got the 1, 2,
So that
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 9. So she's complete. But don't mean
uh,
you can't come see me because
that's absolutely right. She does have all of them. But go
yeah,
right ahead.
don't it doesn't mean that you shouldn't come see me. It just means that you've been complete, but you still struggle with the. So what I find out too is that even though people are complete, they still struggle with the fact of being a victim to something, and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
they're still a victim to something. We just don't know what that something is until we actually look at the date of birth. So if I looked at her date of birth and what I was telling you earlier about the challenges that
Yeah.
somebody has for the first
Yeah.
36 years of their life, well,
Yeah.
it would tap back into her name of why she had those challenges. So that would be one of the things she might still be struggling with, maybe until I
Mm-hmm.
talk to her.
So just because their name is complete, that don't mean they are complete, which is why they need to come and see you.
Yeah, but the name being complete means that they don't have nothing to worry about. They might be still dealing with post traumatic stuff,
Got it.
past things.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
So
Well,
my
what I
thing
want
is to snap them out of that so they can get to really doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay. Well, we're gonna take after this. We're gonna take about two more readings. Then I'm gonna introduce you. I'm gonna have next week, and then I'll come back to you. We'll sign up. But in the meantime, my distinguished guest Antwon Gordon. All right, out of Atlanta. I preach life coach, spiritual healer. Contact number is 314-649-8088. That's 314-649-8088. And his site is the macabre.house.com. The Macabre House is on IG, and even his cash app is $ Macabre House. Now, uh, as he says, he's got a large family, 7 children, beautiful wife, Onika. Because she just had the baby last month, so I want to bring her back. In fact, your baby isn't even a month yet. Okay, but at the
No,
meantime,
it's
though,
not.
yeah. So that meantime, we'll have her back once she is good. But I think that's a very, very important lesson, Antwon, about the umbilical cord because I know I saw all my children born. All right, and my
Yes.
last one was born in a house, but it was totally different, and there wasn't a cutting of the umbilical cord with my last one. All righty. So there is something to it. And I don't think people understand that umbilical cord is what takes all even no matter the mother can eat the worst of food, but that baby's going to get the best of all the nutrients that come into their system. And all of that is through the
Yes.
umbilical cord. So the fact that
Yes.
they would cut it, now I understand, that things have changed. It doesn't seem to be the natural mothering of putting the baby as soon as they're born right on the chest of the mother. So there's an instant bonding. So the mother can smell the baby and the baby can smell the mother. All these things are kind of like missing. And maybe that in and of itself, not realizing until you mention it, that as soon as the umbilical cord is cut, we're traumatized.
Yes. Yeah, that's the first form of abandonment. Being snipped from your mother. And that, see, the thing is too, when I had a client that I took back to look at what happened to her when she came out of her mother's womb
Mm-hmm.
and how it felt to have the umbilical cord cut. She felt that pain of the umbilical cord being cut. So don't think that the children are not feeling it. They are feeling that pain of the scissors or whatever they're using to cut. That's a piece of you, and that skin still has nerve endings, and you can feel that. So the child feels that. So that's the first form of trauma for that child. Period. But when I did that with the client that I had to go back and check on the placenta and see what happened to it, she made peace with the placenta, and at that moment, she was able to now feel completely grounded and stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. 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 I'm gonna put you on hold a second. Well, no, what we're gonna do is let's take two more names, okay? And then after that,
Wait,
we're
before you do that, I also want everybody to know I delivered my son. I delivered, like when he came out his mother's womb. I caught him, so I delivered my child, so that everybody knows. So that's
well,
a
that's interesting because I delivered my last one,
there
and
you
she was
go.
the only one that was born at home.
See, so
She was born in a
um,
house.
I'm I'm honored to be a part of your fraternity or your order.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
With the fathers that do catch their children. No, and it's not to knock anybody that doesn't catch their children or whatever the case may be, but you want to start getting into the concept of the mindset that we have to go back to our traditions if we ever want to come out of this condition that we're currently in. And that will stop the karmic debts. Because if you really look at these karmic debts now, the hell that black folks is catching is based off of a karmic debt too. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That might be another show. I'm sorry. That
Well,
might
no,
be for
no,
another
we
show.
are going to have you back, brother. Don't even worry about it. We know we're going to have to do a part two on this piece, okay?
Right. Right.
So, so let's get one more person right here. And one person wants to know. This one wants to know: were you using the Chaldean or the Pythagorean system? To me, you're using the
No,
Pythagorean system with the 1 to 9.
yeah, I probably am. I just never read those books. I never like took a class on this stuff. Remember, my mentor was a Dogon. What he trained us in was he trained us in the gematria or the gematria, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the
Mm-hmm.
system.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Mm-hmm.
system we dealt with because there's. So let me just say this: there's five sacred secret sciences. There's five of them,
Mm-hmm.
and he dealt with the 11 master spiritual laws, the 11 behavioral spirits, the 11 insights, the 11 creative spirits, and the 36 principles. So we dealt with that as a
Mm-hmm.
collective.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you look at those as a collective, we're able to determine what all numbers are doing on all different collective levels and stuff based
Mm-hmm.
off of those five sacred secret sciences. So I learned
Mm-hmm.
totally different
No,
than
no, you
what
did, and
you.
I can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah.
But and some of it I can see right away. Some of it I don't. But whatever it is, I know you bring to the table a unique perspective on looking at a
Mhm.
person's name. But it's got to be the Pythagorean because you're looking for the 9. But in Chaldean, they have no 9 at all. So you can search till the
Right.
cows come home, but you won't find a 9. But anyway, let's take this last person here, Jessica. Her name is Jessica Renee Stigate. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Stigall. So, what do you have to
Stegar.
say? Yes, what do you have to say to this young lady?
So she's missing a 4. She's missing a 8. She's missing a 6. So she's missing 3. She has 3 cosmetic debts going on here. And again, that's again. So this person shouldn't work for anybody because it's just they just have too much. They just have too much competitiveness. Like I'm pretty sure she probably played sports or something or competed
Mm-hmm.
in something
Mm-hmm.
because she even at work is too competitive for her, and she's gonna have a lot of hate, like they would say in our a lot of hate going on.
Yeah.
But this person will definitely be hated on because again, when they step into a room, she makes it way uncomfortable, and everybody sees where she's coming for, and that's a problem. She's able to be read before once she walks into the room. So it's kind of like it's hard for her
That's the kind of
to
energy
hide.
she's got.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for her to hide what she's coming for. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shoot, here she come. Put your wallets away, put your money away, put your positions away. This is what they say. They're like, get out of here. Hey, everybody get hey, put it away. Here she comes.
I'm sure
Right?
Jessica ain't that bad, but she's got a lot of fives, which means she is a sharp
Because
cookie. I can tell
yeah,
you.
she's very sharp because you looking at the names, it's like, whoa, she bringing all the heat. And you just gotta
Yeah.
be careful with
Yeah.
that. But her frustration is gonna come from too. She has to be careful with the addictions. She's got addictive energy,
I
and
would agree with
she'll
you on that one too, buddy. Yeah, looking at the
yeah
numbers.
she'll she'll lean too much in that area. It could be from foods, and I mean we say yo stick to the good ones, but it could be foods, it could be drugs. I'm not saying that she does that, but just to give a concept to it, that's necessary really because she's dealing with a lot of pain, dealing with not being number one. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Fighting to
Mm-hmm.
be number one or get into
Mm-hmm.
that number one position or being in that position of just running her show and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So people are just they're reading her before she comes through the room. She just has I wouldn't say tone it down. I would say that you need to hire the people that you need to do the work that you need to have do the work for you. Because if you try to go and connect it, it's kind of like they're gonna be too intimidated. Your
So
energy's
in
too
other words,
intimidated.
she needs some representatives out there when she's going to do something.
Yeah, she's like she too cold with it. It's too cold with it. It's too competitive. It's like damn, like she gonna make every. But it also could be too that she might not be in her. She's not around her peers. She might be
Mm-hmm.
around
Mm-hmm.
small-minded people
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So she might be walking around people that she could easily stun on, or what we say, right? Just
Yep.
stun on them, or like she's just too dope, and everybody else is whack. She's got to get in her competitive lane and be
Mm-hmm.
around those that will help her to level up, and then she'll
Mm-hmm.
get into that position of power where she wants to be. But as long as she playing with the little people,
Yeah, she's gonna
she's
have
always gonna
problems.
be
She
hating
needs
on.
to. Yeah, she needs to move it up a notch or two. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, she's gonna be hating on no matter what until you get with people that's already doing what it is that she want to do. So she's got to level to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit tight a second. I'm gonna be right with you. Let me just announce who we're gonna have next week. And okay, let's see, folks. Um, Here we go. Next week, for example, next Monday, we are gonna have Sister. Here we go. We're gonna have Sister Kafunya. As you know, she is the Crystal Lady, and she is going to be on the show on Monday, the 7th of March. She's a 7, so I try to line everybody up with their numbers, their digits. That's how I work. And then that's on Monday. Then on Wednesday, the 9th, we're going to have this other distinguished gentleman, astrologer, Hood Mystic. And in fact, he's out of Detroit, like Dominic Holmes, also. He's written books. His wife was the one that I had as a guest on my show, which her book was about the womb and the healing of the womb and things you need to do. And here it is, my guest. The first thing he opened up to was gave homage to the Black woman and the womb. So I don't think that's no accident. And tomorrow, please join me on Clubhouse. I'm very new to it. I think it'll be day 3 of it. Hold on one second. Let me do something here. Okay. It'll be day 3 of it. And there we go. Here we go. Huh? Okay. Here we go. All right. So it's going to be tomorrow on Clubhouse. It's called Learn from Lloyd with Numerology. And I do welcome novices, beginners, professionals. I mean, as much as I know, I want to know more. Um, so they're always going to be, as this poem of Desirada, they're always going to be greater and lesser than ourselves. So if you are a professional and would like to come to the room and share, if you are a beginner or if this is totally new to you at all and want to see the beauty of this ancient African science, I ask you to join me. It's tomorrow on Clubhouse at 7 p.m. My number, all righty. And my room is Numbers and You, but the segment is called Learn from Lloyd with Numerology. Okay. So I've got that out the way. Let me see. Let me do this. Alrighty. And here we go, folksies. Okay. Here we go. And I am back now with my distinguished guest.
Yeah.
Antwon, listen, man, I want to thank you. We got to do a repeat, brother. Okay.
Yeah,
Because I,
anytime, man. You know, I love it, man. You know, let me let the world know too is that I first discovered you early 2000. Numbers in You was a major book and stuff. I read it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't like study it like I was like I should have at that particular time if I know what I know now, right? But
Yeah, sure.
you were the spark to what I didn't know about numerology. So, and then to have my mentor come later on down the road to really put it back into me to really see this is where this is at, and then come back full circle at this time to meet with you and do a show with you. It just speaks volumes. And
Question: Your mentor, is he still living?
yeah, he's let me tell. Oh man, this guy. I probably need to hook you up with him. You might
No,
know
I,
him.
I
Hold on,
want to
time out.
say,
You
huh?
might know him. You
I
definitely
know,
might know him.
I
I
know.
know you know him because y'all look just alike. His name is Dr. Julian Thomas Nettles Bay. You ever heard of him? He's out
The
of
name
Chicago.
sounds very familiar, but listen, as I'll get in touch, get his number,
Listen,
and I'd like to bring him
when
to
we
the
get off,
show.
or whatever, call me and I'll do a three-way. We'll talk.
Okay, good enough. And then what I'd like to do is bring your beautiful wife back on to talk about the womb too, and how
Oh
she
yes,
saved the brother. Okay.
yes, yes, yes. Multiple shows to come, right?
Multiple shows to come. Antwon, thank you so much,
Yes,
man. You have a blessed day. Again, congratulations being a new dad, and all the best to your queen. All righty. She has a website too. Can when they go to Macabre House, they can see hers too. I think
absolutely.
he. Okay, good, good. And I salute you too, brother. All righty.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings, and you take good care. Okay. And everybody, I want to thank you very, very much for joining. As you see, I have very interesting guests. You must admit they are really, really interesting. But everybody, I want to thank you. I'll look for you on Monday the 7th with Queen of Fool. No, no, not Queen of Fool, with Kafunya. Thank you. And then on the 9th with Hood Mystic. So it's going to be a great weekend. And so everybody call in with your birthdays and names and everything like that. But in the meantime, have a great, great weekend and a very safe one. And today is a new moon. So whatever you initiate will have a way of sticking with you. All right. I think I'm going to have an astrology conference. All these great astrologers I got on. Then I'm going to have a numerology conference. Then I'm going to have other conferences. So anyway, I got all these kind of Aquarian ideas in my head. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, all of you take good care of yourselves.